What is that? What is...
Umi's plan. Umi?
What do I tell them?
Well, what did you tell them?
I told them I would ask.
What are you blathering about?
Customers are asking, but...
Umi's
What should
plan.
I tell them?
What did you tell them?
I told them I would ask.
Yeah, hello all. Fate here, or Johan, whatever you want to call me at this point. Johan's my nickname. Anyways, so I wanted to ask you all a few things. I wanted to make a poll to ask people what they thought of future content I want to make, but YouTube doesn't let you do that unless you have 1,000 subscribers, so screw me. But I wanted to know what you guys think of these ideas before I get into the reading for this week. I want to do more scripted content. I want to discuss other animes and content. This isn't to say I will not be discussing Rent a Girlfriend more. Of course, I still want to write scripts and ideas for that as well, and I want to make the readings and the analysis, but I definitely want to make other forms of content. So look at maybe my first video I made for this channel, where it's the Rent a Girlfriend script that I made. Something akin to that. Maybe think like Gigog or stuff like that. Like, I really like scripted content. I feel like my jokes are better there, and it's more cohesive, and I can kind of present myself how I want to present myself. So yeah, let me know. And of course I will be discussing other things. Like, one of the animes I really want to discuss right now is Wonder Egg Priority, because I believe it's like one of the best visual shows I've had the experience of watching recently. Easily one of Cloverworks' best shows this season. So yeah, let me know in the comments, please. Like, I need to know whether you guys will enjoy that type of content, because I don't want to isolate my audience since I'm already so small. So yeah, let me know. And for now, let's get into chapter 178 of Rent a Girlfriend. Let's mosey. Oh, straight into the thing today. Chapter 178, The Girlfriend and the Tiger's Den, Part 3. Miyajima Reiji. Who's your destined waifu? It's time for the Konokari Ghost Leg Lottery. Pick a number and follow it down. You'll find your bride in the next page. Huh. So I went with 3. 3 landed me on Sumi. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! I'm a Sumi boy all along. With you by my side, I can survive in a world of Chads. Wait, speaking of which, what's the King of Chads up to? And so, 1 hour later. Man, I'm so glad Mizuhara's here with me. If she wasn't, who knows how I'd manage the den of Chads. It feels like I'd be crushed to death under my own inferiority complex. Kazuya knows. Confirmed. Why did Umi-kun invite Mizuhara here today? Hell, why did he invite me? Just to celebrate the movie? What, I'm supposed to believe a guy would invite Mizuhara to something? And it's not part of some underhanded scheme? Scumbag thinking. Just on that line alone, I'm calling it right now, Umi's not a shitty person. Summary. Kazuya and Mizuhara showed up at Umi's party. Despite his worries, Kazuya reflects on how happy he is that Mizuhara stayed with him. But what is Umi, who invited them, up to?
Hello there.
Ah, welcome back. Umi-kun? Alone with Mizuhara? From the looks of it, it seems like Umi's chatting her up. I knew it, just like I thought. What were they talking about while I was gone? Is he carrying out his battle plans? I was just thanking Umi-kun for his retweet. You should thank him too. Oh, thanks. You came in big. What? Please, it was all you two. A gift? Are you sure? Thanks. Huh? Yeah, don't worry about it. It's nothing big. Just a little something to celebrate. We're just handing out presents now like it's no big deal? Slow down! What's in the box? These studs, man. He's not playing around. He's making a move on her! He really is, isn't he? Kazuya's mental scape is just the overly sensitive fan base right now. Like, come on. Hey, could you excuse us? Gah! I knew it! He's making a move on her! I was hoping to chat with you for a bit, Kazuya-kun. Huh? Huh? Me? Not her? Oh, come on, guys. You're acting like you just saw a ghost. Oh, okay. Sorry, Chizuru-chan. Don't mind me, I'll just enjoy the food. He wants to talk to me? What would he want to talk about? And alone? Yeah, sure, why not? Awesome, let's take a walk. Umi Nakano, checkmark, actor. Yo, boy has a checkmark? A checkmark? What? 2,700 followers? It's gone up by 40K. He's just just straight up famous! What the heck does Mr. 270K even want with me? Congratulations on the crowdfunding campaign. Huh? I've actually taken an interest in it lately. Like, how do you do it? How's it all work? Huh? Oh, thanks. Crowdfunding? Well, you start off by deciding which platform you're going to submit it to. We used Campfire. Oh, but every platform's got its own advantages, so what we needed to do is... Ah, I see. And yeah, so you get the idea. Damn, I'm surprised how well I can talk about this. Wow, you're something else. You're super knowledgeable about this stuff. Did you already know it beforehand? Umi's being kind of chummy. Does he like Kazuya? Oh, he's probably trying to vibe with him. This is interesting. Nah, I just sort of seized on it. Wow, amazing! You must be smart as hell! Wait, what? He's really laying it on thick. He's a good listener, too. It's like he's into me or something. Well, to tell you the truth, I respect you a lot. Chizuru-chan's a fantastic actress, but she was in a really tough situation. But you put your head down, put together a crowdfunding campaign, and pulled it off superbly. You kept chugging right to the end and made a movie. Not just anyone could do that. It's really something incredible. You? Respect me? Come on, you're exaggerating. Oh, I know! Let's get a pic! Both of us, so we can remember this. Say barbecue. Huh? A picture? What the? Yo, Umi's a super honest dude. I've been saying this since, like, right as this started. Umi has no malicious intent. Cool if I put it on Twitter? Twitter? The account with 270K followers? Oh, why not? I don't mind. Barbecue with a friend. That's actually a really good picture. Like, Kazuya looks funny, but it's a cute picture. What? He's winking? He can just whip out a pose like that? What craftsmanship? How does he manage to be cool even when he's taking pics? I love how he's describing his, like, what craftsmanship, what amazing work of art. It's to be expected. He's a pro. The driest laugh in all of Dakinyama. And I look just like usual. Hey, what would you say this means to you? Huh? I don't not like you. Huh? I don't not like you. You heard me right. I don't not like you. Huh? Huh? The matchmaker shows us colors. Huh? Wait, what? Where's this coming from? What kind of question is that? I don't not like you? What's that even supposed to mean? Everything all right, Amikan?
Hey, let's do get help. What? Get help? No, come on, I hate it. It's great, it works every time. It's humiliating. Do you have a better plan? No, we're doing it.
Is he having girl troubles? Is he asking my advice? Is this for a script? No, it's nothing like that. Right. When it comes to a hunk like him, I have no idea what he's thinking. Well... It means they like you, I think. Maybe? Cheeky bastard. Right? I thought the same thing. Hey, I appreciate you coming out today. It was fun getting to talk to you. Huh? We're done? And thanks for teaching me about crowdfunding. It was really informative. Oh, I know. How about we add each other online? Here's my QR code. Huh? I feel like you and I will get along great. Huh. Umi's trying to befriend him. For sure. He's so charming. So cool. Right? Oh, that's such a pure smile. Like, I don't know if Umi's acting, but that just seems like such a pure smile. Like, everything about that interaction felt extremely genuine. This booze, man, it goes right through you, Umi. I feel like you and I will get along great. As if! Get along great? Him and me? We live in completely different worlds. What on earth would we have in common? What did he even want to talk to me about? Just crowdfunding? Was that it? Really? Whoa, jeez, it's getting so many retweets. Well, even if somebody sees, I can just make some excuse. You can barely make me out anyway. Ooh. Okay. So, interesting note, that line would normally be foreshadowing, but the way it's presented tells me otherwise, because usually when it's foreshadowing for something bad to come, the line is highlighted in bold. This one is not. So that gives me the indication that it's probably not a big deal. So that's just my guess, though. It could come back to bite him, but from the way it's presented, I don't think it is. But man, he just looks so cool. Makes sense, I guess. This is his job. He's probably put a lot of effort into looking good. He doesn't seem to have a bad bone in him either. See? Even Kazuya is saying it. I'm just putting it out there, yo. You look amazing! What a smile! Getting to see your face before I sleep. I think I'm gonna have sweet dreams tonight. Thank you. Heart. Amazing photo. Thank you. Thank you. Heart. I don't think Mizuhara uses Twitter at all. But if she did, I bet it would look like this. Uploading pictures of the two of them rehearsing, each one getting tons of retweets. Chizuru-chan's backstage. Best team ever. Pulling 10k likes apiece. The replies come flooding in. You two look amazing. In that regard, I guess you could say they're a great match. Ah! Huh? Mizuhara! You two ended up talking for quite a bit, huh? What did you talk about? Crowdfunding, mostly. He said he's taken an interest in it? What? What's on your mind? Oh, that. Well, he asked me what I thought when he said, I don't not like you. What? Weird, right? That's what he said, but I don't even know what the context is. All he gave me was, I don't not like you. I'm surprised. I guess he has his own love problems. I didn't really have a great answer. Maybe you'd have some idea? That, fam? That's the face of defeat. Oh, delicious victory. Huh? Mizuhara? You're blushing. Maybe you've had too much to drink? How should I know? Huh? Why are you blushing harder? I'm not. It's got nothing to do with me. Huh? Why are you getting mad at— Ow! You stepped on my foot! Kazuya alone is ignorant of the story behind those words. Frustrating, but that's fine. Next time, after party or head home. Okay. Get slapped with the cliffhanger, get top diggity bodied. We got told absolutely nothing, lots and lots of foreshadowing. I like how the roles are starting to get swapped for Chizuru and Kazuya. I love that. I think that's very, very, very cute. So, just a few things I wanted to go over this chapter. I'm gonna keep the analysis rather brief.
So that was a f***ing lie.
I do think it's mostly set up, but it's interesting nonetheless. So let's get into it really quick. So first off, I find it interesting how when we start the chapter, it's Kazuya like kind of essentially thinking what the audience is thinking. He has this scumbag thinking mentality where he's just kind of thinking Umi's a shithead, but I also like how he immediately addresses his inferiority complex. He points that out to us, and I really like that because Reiji is essentially putting how the fans feel into Kazuya, because one of the things the series does a lot is we're being told the story mostly from Kazuya's perspective. So a lot of the things that we see are generally interpreted in a bad light because Kazuya views them in a bad light. So when Kazuya thinks Umi is a bad person, and when Umi's presented to us throughout these chapters in a bad and negative way, that's not really the case. And the reason I'm really trying to stress this to you guys is because if you go back and read most of the chapters that you see Umi in, a lot of the times it's mostly either from Kazuya's perspective or Chizuru's perspective. And all those times, it's like you think of it negatively because of how it's being presented. But if you look at Umi, his body language, his face, what he's saying, how he's thinking, it tells a completely different narrative. Yes, his tactic is to use all his cards. That's kind of his tactic. That's how he knows how to do things. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. That just tells me he's confident. That's all. So he's willing to push if he thinks he has a chance. But the moment he got rejected by Chizuru, That's it. He was done. He just wanted her to say it. That's all he wanted. And that's why he says, I'm an idiot in the end of the line. So that's mostly that for Umi. And again, I don't think Umi is a shitty person. And I genuinely think this chapter generally solidified that, because Kazuya is a very analytical person. He can pick up on when someone's acting. He's not stupid. He notices these things. Kazuya is extremely analytical, and Umi kind of sees that in this chapter. Umi's aware of it. He sees that Kazuya is a very analytical person, and that he's not necessarily blind to these things. Like, Kazuya is actually really smart and knowledgeable, and Umi's pretty much saying what, you know, the good fans that actually like Kazuya are saying. He's smart, he's analytical, he's knowledgeable, he could probably make connections if he just didn't beat himself up so much. There's one thing I did want to mention. I am curious what Umi gave her for the gift. I'm wondering if it's relevant to what he talked about with Kazuya. It would possibly explain Chizuru's frustrations or instant panic. It could also just be the fact that he said that, but who knows. Anyways, I do find it interesting how Umi approaches this situation, because he's trying to keep a level of tact, if you notice, when he's talking to Kazuya. Like, when he says, I want to talk to Kazuya immediately freaks out, thinks he wants to talk to Chizuru, and that's exactly how the audience views it. Everybody wants to believe Umi's a bad person, but Umi is just feeling Kazuya out. He just wants to know what Kazuya is thinking. He wants to know what he's like, and what Chizuru likes about him. He knows he lost. He knows there's no point. If anything, Chizuru most likely would have ended up being some sort of rebound for Umi, so it's actually a good thing that this situation kind of occurred. He starts out smart. He talks about crowdfunding, which is a good way to start the conversation. You can tell there was a pause when they were talking, so Umi was clearly a bit unnerved himself. He didn't just say things right away. And, you know, I really like that. I like that little subtlety in the way that Reiji's portraying this. I also find how Reiji presents this very clever. He's constantly building Umi up as a threat to you. So, for example, he shows you how he has 270k followers. He shows you how he has a check mark, how he's big and famous and everyone loves him, and Kazuya's like, what the fuck does he want with me? He's missing the point. Kazuya is missing the point. He's not seeing what Umi's intentions are because he's so focused on the exterior. He's not trying to read him, he's trying to predict something without having any context. Just like how Umi told him those words without any context. Speaking of body language, again for Umi, you see this constantly throughout the chapter. He's being nice, he's smiling, the reactions seem genuine. It's not quite like with Mommy, where with Mommy, because you know what Mommy's thinking, you always have this foreboding feeling of what Mommy wants and whatnot, so you never truly feel safe. And you always get like little snippets of what's possibly going on with the character. You constantly get like creepy facial expressions, creepy things with Mommy, so you're constantly told something is off about this situation. However, there's no indication of that in this. The only indication we get is like little super tiny subtle stuff, like Umi posting something on Twitter, or Umi having a face where he pauses and thinks for a second. And it's none of those things scream, I'm a bad guy. It doesn't feel like it's meant to surprise me, because usually that's a smart thing to do when you're a writer. You give the audience all the clues they possibly need to surprise them. That's called a proper surprise. That's called a proper build-up and a proper surprise. So if anything, I think this is actually the surprise. This is the thing that's meant to lure you away and make you realize, oh, Umi's not a shitty person. And sure, I could be completely wrong, but Reiji hasn't built the situation up to be a negative one in any way. There were no, like, truly bad indications of that. If anything, it was the complete opposite. The way Umi's been acting this entire time has been very positive and not negative. It's just been positivity all throughout. Again, he's constantly praising Kazuya, he's constantly, like, interested in what Kazuya has to say, what he thinks, but then the part that really sold it for me 200% is when he tells him that he respects him and how he knew that Chizuru was in a tough situation and he wanted to help her but he couldn't himself, and Kazuya pulled off of making a movie. Now, he could just be sprinkling truth with lies, but it just genuinely doesn't feel like that. Like, I've seen enough manipulation to kind of understand how it works, and I generally don't think that's the case. I don't think he's luring Kazuya into a false sense of security. He doesn't at any point indicate he wants to do anything really bad with Kazuya. Like, taking a picture with him and posting it on Twitter. What's that gonna do? If anything, that only just gets him clout. That doesn't do anything besides that. He doesn't know any of Kazuya's friends or anything. Sure, it could lead to maybe Ruka seeing it, because Ruka is really active on Twitter. So I could see maybe Ruka seeing it, and that causes a scene, but that's not directly Umi's fault. Does that make sense? And at no point does Umi do anything to indicate to Kazuya that he has any, like, negative intentions. With Mommy, you can always tell. You can always tell it's a manipulation tactic. She's gaslighting him. She's doing things to make him not believe what's going on. While with this, we never knew what Umi was thinking, and then now we get that reveal, so it's like completely different. And then when he takes a picture with Kazuya, it almost feels like he's genuinely celebrating with him. He's like enjoying his time with Kazuya. He's like, you know what? I want to get to know you. And Kazuya doesn't view it this way, because Kazuya says it in the very beginning of the chapter. He has an inferiority complex. He doesn't think he's good enough. And so every single interaction that happens in this chapter doesn't feel like it's true, because Kazuya doesn't believe he could possibly be as good or as cool as Umi, because Umi's way too cool. He's pretty, he's handsome, he takes care of his face, he takes care of his body, he's constantly like updating people, everybody loves him, he doesn't have a single bad bone in his body. But the thing is Umi's not perfect either. Like, his approach to how he wanted to talk to Chizuru wasn't great, and he fucked up like some stuff here and there. He couldn't help Chizuru when she needed help, and so Kazuya ended up doing it, and Kazuya ended up getting closer to Chizuru. So Umi is not perfect by any means. It's just Kazuya can't see past his own limitations. But I think this will genuinely develop into an interesting friendship, as this will possibly be a perfect way for Kazuya to enter the movie industry. Umi has a lot of connections, and everyone's been saying Kazuya's probably going to become a producer, or is probably going to become a director, or something along those lines. He's going to become part of the movie industry. And Umi is the perfect segue into that. Umi is the perfect catalyst for Kazuya to make connections, to get to know people, to become part of the movie industry, to go to plays, to do all these things. He can invite him to all this stuff. That's why he adds him online. He genuinely thinks like Kazuya is a good person, and he's extremely knowledgeable and analytical, and he could probably do a lot of really awesome things. So I genuinely believe, like, it's, if anything, Umi's just doing what he does best. He's making connections, but he's also playing matchmaker. He's playing matchmaker for Kazuya and Chizuru to kind of just get them together, because he knows for a fact Chizuru does not say her true feelings. She clearly has not yet. He picked up on that. I am betting it right now. He picked up on the fact that Chizuru has not done that yet, because of the way they're interacting, because of the way Kazuya doesn't act in certain scenarios, because of the way Kazuya isn't defensive about Chizuru, or plays very passive about the whole situation. He doesn't get mad at Umi at any point, and Umi probably realizes, like, oh, why is Kazuya not mad at me when I clearly asked Chizuru out? And so it becomes clear to him that this situation clearly has not pushed past this point, a romantic relationship yet. And so Umi's probably just trying to play matchmaker. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna get these two together. They deserve it, because Chizuru needs someone great in her life. Kazuya seems like a genuinely good person. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna help them. Oh, and of course, for the inferiority complex aspect, it's further solidified when Kazuya sees himself in the picture. If anything, it looks funny. He just views himself very negatively, but it looks funny. He's just still dwindled up about it, and he can't, like, see past that. And then Kazuya is right, though. Umi's a fucking hottie. Holy moly, this man's attractive. Like, shit. This dude's hella attractive. Wow. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, Umi's extremely attractive, but that's besides the point. I do want to, that does kind of like play into Kazuya's inferiority complex, but now I want to touch on the line that Umi says, I do not like you.
I understood that reference.
And he brings it up like 3 times, and then he waits patiently, he waits to see. But it's interesting to note how when Kazuya says, is this for a script, he says, no, it's nothing like that. I like how that's done, because it shows that he's not exactly super comfortable in this situation either. Umi's not perfect, so he's like, oh no, I don't want him to like go off the beaten path, maybe I'm like pushing this in the wrong direction. That's kind of like what that vibe kind of gives me. It's like you're kind of sensing that in there, and a lot of Umi's words are specifically highlighted to you to point these things out. It's like when he says, no, it's nothing like that, it's bolded up. A lot of the words that Umi says are bolded up and brought up importantly, and that's kind of relevant to when he does the picture on Twitter, because it's the only reason it could possibly be bad is 2 things: Mommy or Ruka. But both of those things are not directly Umi's fault. He doesn't tag Kazuya. He doesn't know Kazuya on Twitter, so he doesn't tag him. You have to notice that as well. However, Umi is popular on Twitter and he has a checkmark, so someone could maybe find Kazuya through that, and then that's how Ruka or Mami could find out. It's something like that. But Kazuya also says he could probably pay it off pretty easily, so if anything, it could just be like, oh, look at Kazuya making connections and shit like that. So I don't think it'll be super bad, but I could see maybe like Ruka freaking out about it, and I could see maybe Mami trying to use it in some way, but I doubt it. I can't really see how Mami would use that negatively. It's just Kazuya at a party. Ruka could use it to be like, you're ditching work to go with Chizuru on parties and shit, and you're here with hot guys. I didn't know you were like that, and yada yada yada. And it'll create like a really funny scene. It'll just be like a good gag more than anything. And I also want to touch on the part where Umi says, right, I thought the same thing. Look at his face. Not in the negative, manipulative kind of way, but rather, yeah, that's the situation, you're right. And it's interesting that the conversation ends right there because you find out that he achieved his two objectives, feeling Kazuya out and then playing matchmaker. He uses the crowdfunding as a pretense to enter the conversation, and then he sneaks the line in to essentially get Kazuya to think about it and eventually, of course, bring it up to Chizuru because, yeah, Chizuru will ask what happened and Kazuya will naturally say it and Chizuru will freak out. So, yeah, that's just an interesting thing to bring up. And finally, the line that I genuinely believe also solidifies why Umi's a good person is, I feel like you and I will get along great. And that line is specifically bolded to you, and then you see an amazing panel of Umi just having a nice, genuine smile with a blush in his hair, and it looks like a smile Kazuya or Chizuru would make. Like, Umi's actually drawn a lot like Chizuru, if you guys notice. Like, if you pay attention to Umi's design, he's drawn a lot like Chizuru, and I think that's on purpose, because not only are they both actors, but he says a lot of the things Chizuru says. Like, they're actually more similar than you would expect. It's just Umi is more in tune with his emotions and he's willing to express himself more. And so I think that's why Umi thought he would be a great match for Chizuru, because like on the surface they seem like they would be a perfect match because of how Chizuru presents herself. But once you actually know Chizuru and understand her, you start to realize she's actually a much better match for Kazuya rather than Umi. It's just Umi has a lot of the outer qualities that suit Chizuru more, but Kazuya internally suits her more, and Kazuya is also attractive, he just doesn't admit it to himself. I just think that's extremely clever on Reiji's part. It's like, Umi is actually a lot like Chizuru, and so in that sense he also likes Kazuya. It's just him and Chizuru are like on a strange border of different and alike, so it's like it doesn't work for them. Does that make sense? Am I making sense to y'all? I also love how Kazuya, despite his inferiority complex, is constantly complimenting Umi. He's like, he's so charming, he's so cool, I love this guy, and I hate him at the same time. And I love that like inner conflict in Kazuya, because he wants to say he's cool, he wants to like be his friend. It's so genuine that Kazuya wants to actually be Umi's friend, but he doesn't. He's afraid. He's afraid that he's inferior. He's afraid that he's not worthy to be around them. And I've felt that. I've had friends where I just genuinely think, like, I just genuinely thought to myself, it's like, I can't be friends with these people because they're just so much better than me. And that's a completely wrong mentality. There's no such thing as someone who's just better than you. Make you feel a little better, maybe. Just don't be a shithead and everybody will like you. And I really like how they point out that Kazuya thinks of it in that way too, where he says, I guess in that regard, I guess you could say they're a great match. But also notice how he says, in that regard, Chizuru doesn't have Twitter. Chizuru isn't in the same wavelength as Umi. She could be, theoretically, but they aren't meant for each other. And I really, really like that. I like how that's presented in this chapter. Kazuya only speaks in hypotheticals, what-ifs, maybes, but he's not seeing what's right in front of him. That he is the one that's meant for Chizuru. He understands her better. He gets along well with her. He's the one who went through her struggles, not Umi. And Umi even points this out when he says how Kazuya got the movie done. He was the hero, not him. And it shows how Kazuya is ignorant to what's in front of him, but it's okay because this relationship has been progressing a great deal, and it's probably going to progress even more the further and further we get. And I really, really, really appreciate that Reiji's part. It's so subtle, it's so simple, but you can see how this relationship is just meant to be. It's just meant to work out. And I really love that. I love this idea of almost a fated relationship. It's meant to happen. It's almost akin to destiny. I think that's just so cool. How Reiji is almost like God controlling these characters. They're his children and he's controlling them and showing the path for them to slowly and gradually come together. I think that's just such a cool idea and how it's being presented and done. Okay, and then now the last thing, of course, I gotta touch on, is when Kazuya brings up the line to Chizuru, and her instant reaction. Yo. She fell into a fucking panic. I've rarely seen Chizuru with that type of dialogue. You know that dialogue that they do when the character's kind of panicking and they feel like unnerved a bit? I've rarely ever seen Chizuru with that type of presentation, and they nailed it on the spot. I love that part so much because she's like holds her hands together. She looks like she just like saw a fucking ghost. She just panic instantly. It's crazy too because like even Umi's like, yo bro, why do you guys look like you saw a ghost? I'm not asking something weird here. Like stop assuming shit about me, man. Relax. Let's all relax here. Take it easy. Like I really like that. I like that aspect too. It's like how Reiji's like how Reiji's like, hey, y'all need to stop assuming and just let me tell my story, please. So yeah, like when Chizuru like puts her hands together and she looks like she just saw a ghost and she's panicking because she thought like, did Umi tell Kazuya how I feel? Like, holy shit, do I have to panic? Do I have to like jump out of my seat yet? And I love that. I love how it's presented because it's not, because it's like Kazuya just kind of saying what he saw. He's not like overthinking it or anything, but it's like the thing he needs to notice. And he sees her like the scene where she just turns into an absolute blush. That's just Kazuya. That's how Kazuya panics. Like, I love that scene. That's amazing. That's literally how Kazuya falls into a blush like that. And then Chizuru always like calls him out. She like comes up to him and she's like, "Oh, is this what's happening to you? Why are you blushing like that?" and shit like that. And I love those scenes because it's literally being played in reverse, and it's like, oh, Reiji's such a good artist. Oh my god, he got us god diggity good. Like I feel like something interesting is gonna happen next chapter. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that tingle in there. Like something interesting is gonna happen soon, and yeah, I'm super excited. I think next chapter could be like set up for them to possibly talk about it, but there's no indications. There's nothing. All we got is after party or going home, and so usually after parties things tend to happen.
I understood that reference.
Could be a good opportunity for their relationship to progress. It could not progress. We don't know. The whole party situation is clearly over now. Like the whole main objective of this party is pretty much done. So I don't feel like there's much more to this party besides maybe Kazuya and Chizuru talking some more, maybe Kazuya making connections. I feel like this party kind of like served its purpose. It's over. So it's like there's nothing too much more to say. It's just, okay, Umi talked to Kazuya, we found out Umi's objective, we found out Umi's in a shit person. Now we saw Chizuru blush because she got caught off guard, she got cornered by Umi indirectly playing matchmaker, and then Kazuya not realizing what's going on, he's completely ignorant to the situation, but Reiji says specifically that it's fine. But why is it fine, huh? Why is it fine, Reiji? Are you going to do something next chapter? And it's like, I really want to know what this man's thinking. There's some interesting setup happening. Why is the situation fine? Is something good gonna happen to Kazuya soon? Because he seems to be going in that right direction. I think Umi could possibly, because Umi is online now, Umi could encourage him not only to enter the movie industry, but to get with Chizuru. Finally, one last thing I really want to touch on. I love the final panel where it's Kazuya staring at Chizuru. And then Chizuru, like, panics like that. She's like, oh, he got me, shit. And it's literally how Kazuya reacted. There's even a mirroring of that when Kazuya first confesses to Chizuru. And she's like, oh, is that what you mean? Like, I'll share it in there. But it's literally like an absolute mirroring of their situation. It's so good. And Kazuya, of course, doesn't pick up on it because he's like, huh? What the f***? Are you drunk? What's going on? And I like that. It doesn't go into his inferiority complex. Rather, just kind of him thinking she drunk what's going on. He doesn't, because he's probably never seen Chizuru blush like this before, and there was no indication it was because of Umi, and I really like that. I like how that's done. Reiji isn't making it feel like Umi's gonna like impact Kazuya's life in any given way, because Umi clearly wanted to talk to Kazuya, so Kazuya doesn't think Umi's after Chizuru. He just thinks they're a great match. And so when Chizuru blushes like that, he doesn't think it's because of Umi. He has no reason to, because he didn't want to talk to Chizuru more, he wanted to talk to him. So yeah, that's mostly the review for this chapter. I really like what they're doing. I think something interesting could possibly happen next chapter. That's just a theory I got. I think for the Twitter thing, again, it's probably just going to be Mami or Ruka. Probably mostly Ruka. I don't think Mami could really do much with that, personally speaking. But who knows? I could be completely wrong. And yeah, so I think something fun could happen next chapter. Reiji gave us a few indications that could be the case, but it may not happen, it may happen, who knows. I hope you enjoyed this reading with me for this chapter. Remember, you know what, why do I even keep telling you guys to subscribe? Just please subscribe to the channel, for crying out loud. I made a nice little thing that pops up every time that comes up over here, so you know what? I bet you're all desensitized as fuck listening to me to tell you to subscribe and share the video and all that shit. Please do it. I could use it. Yeah, I want it. Please. Yeah, support my channel, please. And then, of course, finally, my last thing is, again, I'm thinking of diversifying my content. Don't forget that, please. I mentioned in the beginning of the video, but I gotta mention it again because you guys, yeah. So let me know what you think. I definitely want to make more content, especially more scripted content. I want to make more scripted content, not only for Rent-A-Girlfriend, but for other animes like Wonder Egg. I want to discuss, like, Jobless Reincarnation. I think that's a great show. Jobless Reincarnation is, like, one of the most interesting isekais I've had the pleasure of seeing this season. I want to talk about Tomozaki, a bottom tier player, which despite having like shitty dialogue is actually like a really decent story. Anyways, that's all my thoughts for today. I have been Johan, Fate, whatever you want to call me. Patreon should be ready soon. I've been working on it, but you know, I started working on it yesterday. I didn't get to finish, but yeah, it's almost done. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully it's either a scripted one or it's another Rent-A-Girlfriend video. And yeah, that's all I have to say today. And remember, let's mosey!